When a person decides that I don't want to spend my money to learn a new skill or to learn how to do something the right way, instead I'm going to save my money and I'm going to spend, or rather waste my time, that's being foolish. You know why? Because you can always get money back, but you cannot get time back.
That me though. That me though. I ain't got no problem with what you do. I'ma do me though. Yeah. I like chains on top of my chains for real, but that's me though.
What are the top 3 things that can determine whether or not a person has a poverty mentality? Well, I'm going to share that with you right now. The top 3 indicators of whether or not a person has a poverty mentality. The first indicator is they are wasteful. They are wasteful. It's funny because I remember years ago I was reading a book about an author. Her name is Dani Johnson. And she was sharing her testimony in a book. The title of the book was First Steps to Wealth. And she was explaining in a book how, in her childhood days, she was abused. Both of her parents were on drugs. She was abused both physically as well as mentally and emotionally. Just really came up, in a terrible environment, a very dysfunctional family. And she explained how as a young teenage girl, she ended up getting pregnant. She dropped out of high school. Not only did she experience dysfunction at home, but after she got pregnant, the church she was attending, they kicked her out. She got kicked out of church for getting pregnant and becoming pregnant out of wedlock and becoming a teenage mother. So they kicked her out of church. So she just, had a horrible beginning, and she ended up years later attempting to commit suicide. And she said while she was attempting to drown herself, she was on the beach in the ocean, and she just dove into the water and tried to drown herself. She heard the voice of the Holy Spirit tell her to get up, get out of this water right now. And God told her that I have plans for you. And from that day forward, to kind of make a long story short, she went from being a high school dropout, a single mother who was homeless, to 2 years later being a multi-millionaire with multiple companies bringing in millions of dollars a year. And she shared how, here she is, wealthy, rich beyond her wildest dreams, and she bought this huge, incredible mansion. And by this time she was married. She and her husband had more kids. And she said they had this huge mansion, they had these huge life-size portraits of her and all of her family members, had a big old marble piano that nobody played because no one knew how to play the piano, and had all of this luxury. And said one day the Holy Spirit came to her and told her, "You have a poverty mentality." She was like, "What? Are you serious? How can I have a poverty mentality? I'm rich. I'm a multi-millionaire. I have millions of dollars and I give away millions of dollars. I help the poor. I help my church, and how can you tell me I have a poverty mentality, Lord?" And said the Holy Spirit told her, look around. She was in that room with the big marble piano, and God told her, look around. All of this stuff that you have, is it necessary? Do you need it? And at that point, she felt convicted, and she realized, wow, I have been spending a lot of money unnecessarily on things I don't actually need, for the purpose of trying to impress people that I don't even know, or trying to prove a point to people, to my naysayers, trying to prove to them that I can be successful. So in essence, all of this stuff that I spent money on, it wasn't to serve my purpose. It wasn't for the purpose of the kingdom, glorifying God. It was really for the purpose of trying to validate me in the eyes of other people. I wasted money just to try to gain validation from other people. That's being wasteful. It's funny because in the Bible, there's a story that Jesus told about a prodigal son. Many people may be familiar with that story, but if you're not, the story goes, there was a young man who went to his father one day and he asked his father, "Can you give me my inheritance? I don't want to wait till you die. I want my inheritance now." And the father agreed, gave the young man his inheritance. The young man went to a faraway land. He wanted to get as far away from home as possible. And while in this other land, he blew all of his money. He had all of these fake friends around him, but as soon as he went broke, all of those fake friends, they left him. He found himself broke, busted, and disgusted, living in a pig pen with the pigs, eating the slop alongside the pigs. And then he came to his senses and said to himself, "Hold up, in my father's house, there's plenty of food. I mean, my goodness, they got the best clothes, they got the best food. I don't have to sit here eating slop when my dad is rich, he's wealthy, and I come from a family of blessings and wealth and prosperity. I will go back to my father's house and at least beg him if I can at least be a servant, because the servants eat better than what I'm eating right now. Even the servants living it up." And the Bible say that young man went back to his father, and he thought the father was going to scold him or shame him. Instead, the father, who was a perfect picture of our Heavenly Father, stood there with arms open wide, embraced them, and called the servants and said, "Bring the best robe, put it on him. Get the best ring, put it on his finger. My son who was lost is now found. Get the fatted calf, kill the fatted calf. We're getting ready to celebrate tonight. We're going to eat, drink, we're going to be merry because my son was lost, but now he's found." And so most times we look at that story and we just look at the younger brother, the one who went away, wasted all his money, and then came back home, and we say that was the prodigal. But I want to interject this. The real prodigal of the story was not the younger brother who got his money and wasted it. It was the older brother. What do I mean by that? You see, the older brother, when the father announced, "Let's go and have a party for my son who was lost but now is found," the older brother went to the father and complained. And he said, "Hold up, Dad, I've been here all this time. You have never killed a fatted calf for me. You have never put the best robe on me. You have never put the best ring on my finger. You have never held a party for me. And I'm the one that stayed by your side. I never left." And the revelation that God gave me right there in that text, and the father let the older son know, "Son, you have been here. Yes, you've been here by my side, but you've always had access to the best robe. You've always had access to the best ring. You've always had access to the fatted calf. You've always had these things at your disposal, but you never used them. You never took advantage of what was right there at your fingertips. You let all of that access go to waste." So who's the real prodigal in the story? The younger brother who went and wasted all his money, or the older brother who had all of the resources at his fingertips but wasted opportunities because he didn't know what to do with them? He just wanted someone else to just throw a party, and he could have threw a party for himself anytime. So I kind of interject this, that a lot of people they have a poverty mentality because they have so much right there at their fingertips that they can use, but they don't use it. They have so many resources, so many gifts that are inside of them, but they won't use them. They just let it go to waste. And then they complain when someone else gets blessed or someone else is crushing it and doing great. And yet they have all of this stuff on the inside of them that God gave them that they're just letting sit there and go to waste. They got all of this information, all of this expertise, all of this truckload of experience. They have resources. They got all of this stuff, but they aren't doing anything with the stuff they already have. They're complaining, God give me more, but they're not doing anything with the stuff they already have. That's a poverty mentality. You're being wasteful. So, kind of look at yourself and kind of check yourself there. Question, look in the mirror and ask yourself the question, do I have a poverty mentality? Do I have stuff, blessings? Do I have resources, gifts, expertise? Do I have things that God has given me that I'm just wasting? I'm not doing anything with it. I have time, I'm not doing anything with it. I have talents and gifts, I'm just letting them go to waste. I'm not doing anything with them. I get upset when I see someone else prospering, but yet I won't use what God has already given me. Am I wasting? So that's one indicator right there. And I want to just kind of reiterate this, that if you don't know who you are, rather than using what God has given you, you'll spend all of your time pursuing people's validation of you. And that is a waste of your time. That's wasting all that you have, that you're supposed to be doing and using right now, doing something with. You're wasting all of that because you're chasing people and trying to get them to like you and approve of you. So that's being the real prodigal. So that's the first indicator right there. You're wasteful. You're wasting time. You're wasting resources. You're wasting your talents. You're wasting your gifts. You're not doing anything with the stuff you already have while you're looking for, something else. And a lot of people fall into that trap. They are always looking for something that's a quick, get rich quick, scheme. And yet they don't want to do anything with the stuff that they already have. They just jump from one thing to the next. And yet they have so much inside of them that they are supposed to be utilizing, but they're just letting it go to waste. That's being a prodigal. That's a poverty mentality. The second thing that indicates whether or not a person has a poverty mentality is when they put money over time, or they value money over time. Let me explain what that means, valuing money over time. There are some people that say, well, I don't want to waste or spend my money. I don't want to spend money on things that can help me. Instead, I would prefer to save my money and then learn how to do stuff on my own. And at some point in time, we've actually began to glorify an erroneous way of thinking. We look at people who say, you know what, I'm self-taught. I taught myself everything. I learned everything on my own. Oh, wow, that is commendable. Wow, you are so smart. You want a cookie? We start glorifying that virtue, of glorifying that attitude rather. And so it kind of encourages other people to take the same attitude. Yeah, see, I'm a self-made. There's no such thing as being self-made. Even the information that you're getting for free, it came from somebody else. But we kind of glorify that attitude that, I taught myself, I learned on my own. I trained myself, and the truth be told is this: that is a very foolish approach to make, because when a person decides that I don't want to spend my money to learn a new skill or to learn how to do something the right way, instead I'm going to save my money and I'm going to spend, or rather waste my time, that's being foolish. You know why? Because you can always get money back, but you cannot get time back. You can lose money and then get it back. And we hear that story all the time. People who make it, They get a lot. I was listening to Russell Brunson, and he was talking to one of the world's most, popular marketers, and he was, founder of ClickFunnels, and he was sharing how he made millions, and then he literally lost everything. And then he got a bright idea and then made millions back, made all his money back, actually made more. And so, it's almost like a seesaw when it comes to money. You can have it one day, you can lose it, but after you lose it, you can end up gaining it right back. I mean, it's money, it comes and goes. But as long as you have this right here, you can always get it back. And when I say this, I'm talking about the knowledge and information on what to do in order to gain money, in order to increase your value so that you can increase your revenue. So, you can take, if you give a man a fish, he'll depend on you for the rest of his life. But if you teach him to fish, he'll never turn to you again a day in his life, because he'll be busy catching his own fish. And there are some people, they have learned how to fish. So you can take all of their money away and they'll have it all back all over again, because they have the knowledge on what to do. They know how to fish. They know how to get that money and increase their revenue. So you can always lose money and get it back, but you cannot get time back. And there are some people who wasted all of their time, and then they get into their middle years, middle age, and they realize that, wow, I don't have anything to leave behind. I don't have anything, no legacy. I don't have, and then the thing that begins to overwhelm them is, I have so few years left. I don't have a lot of time left. Oh my God. And next thing you know, desperation, because they've been either comfortable or they've been wasteful. All of these years, they've been wasting their time learning to do stuff on their own and making a million mistakes, or they've gotten comfortable and complacent. And now they are looking back and they're saying, wow, I don't even have anything to leave behind. And I have so much that I was supposed to do, but I haven't done it yet. And now they're feeling desperate and anxious. I got to hurry up and do something. So, one thing that you can't get back is time. Once it's gone, it's gone. It's not infinite. It has an end, an expiration date. Money, you can always get it. Time, you can't. So a person that puts money over time, they have a poverty mentality. How do you know that if you're putting money over time? Again, if you're wasting time, if you're trying to save money while wasting time, you have a poverty mentality. What do I mean by that? To save money is to say that, well, I don't want to spend money, to learn what it takes in order to gain more money. Instead, I just want to learn on my own. What the irony here is, when you go out and you try to do stuff on your own, let's just say you want to start a business. So instead of paying a business coach, you go to YouTube University, and then you sit there for hours and hours and hours at YouTube University trying to learn on your own what to do, trying to learn all of the ins and outs of the business world, and getting a little piece here and a little piece there, and all of these little pieces that you grab. All that does is overwhelm you with frustration, because now you're sitting there with a bunch of pieces. Some work, some don't. You don't know which works, so you got to try this only to find out this really doesn't work. It's obsolete. Maybe this works. I don't know. I tried. There's more time being wasted trying stuff that may work, may not work. Little pieces here and there. Is all free stuff, and nothing is in order. Everything is kind of just in the place of disarray, and now you're trying to try this and try that and try this and try that and try this and try that. And the more you try these little tips, these little things, this and that and the other, the more time you're devoting to trial and error, and you're losing that time. You're losing time. But here's the key. Not only are you losing time trying this, that, and the other on your own, only to find out this don't work, that don't work, this is obsolete, this is irrelevant, and I'm wasting all of this time trying this and trying that. Not only are you wasting time, but you're also losing money, because every mistake that you make costs money. You went and purchased this software only to find out you didn't need it. That was money lost. You went in and purchased that to find out that you got the wrong equipment, or you didn't even need that equipment. That was money lost. You went and put money on this and put money there. You went and bought this and bought that, and you tried this and had to pay it. That was more money lost. So every mistake that you make actually costs you time and money. When you're trying to do it on your own, you say, I'm just gonna save my money and try to do it on my own. Guess what? You lose time and you lose money, because you make a million mistakes trying to do it on your own, trying to figure it out on your own. You make mistake after mistake after mistake, but every mistake that you make, you lose money along the way. So that is a very foolish approach. That's a very, very foolish approach. One of the things I learned, in my practice, in my business, of writing books, I appreciate those individuals who would come to me, new authors, first-time authors, and they would come to me and they would say, I've never written a book before. I don't know anything about writing a book. I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. So can you help me? Instead of me writing the book, how about I do this? Why don't I pay you? Because even after the book is written, I could make a mistake by signing up for the wrong publisher. With the wrong publisher, I could end up losing my rights to my own intellectual property. I could sign it away because I didn't know what was written on the fine line. I could end up getting the wrong this and the wrong that, and ended up, end up messing my own book up. I've never written a book and I've never published one before, but Tim, you've written hundreds and published hundreds of books. As it goes right, I've written hundreds of books, some of which are on the website, some of which aren't. But Tim, you already know, you've been there, you've done that, you've done this hundreds of times. You've written the book. You know what needs to go in it. You know how to craft the story, how to make it intriguing. You know how to engage in storytelling, when to bring this in, when to do that, how to use suspense to keep people on the edge of their seats. You know how to share the story, how to create a page turner, and you know what needs to be done with regards to the publishing aspect. So rather than me trying to figure it out on my own, only to lose time because year one goes by, I still haven't written the book, still not published. Year two goes by, still hadn't been written because I ran into a brick wall. I got writer's block. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go. I got all of these pieces. I don't know how to put it together. And then year three goes by, and now frustration overwhelms me while I'm looking at all of these pieces that are scattered all over the place, and I don't know what to do. And after a while, year four goes by, and now discouragement sets in. Frustration is overwhelming me, and a sense of conviction is hitting my heart, telling me this book was supposed to have been out 4 years ago. So I'm way behind the curve. Now desperation is setting in, and I'm still trying to figure it out on my own. I'm losing time, and God forbid I'm losing money because I went and purchased this, and I went and paid that, and I went and hired this person and did this and that and the other, and nothing worked. So every time I tried to do things on my own, I actually lost year after year. I lost another year, I lost another year, I lost another year, and I lost hundreds or thousands of dollars in the process. So Tim, you know what? Since you've done this hundreds of times, why don't I take that money and just pay you? And I wouldn't say wise decision, but that's what I was thinking, because rather than putting money over time, you put time over money. So instead of saving money and losing time, you save time by investing money. You save time by investing it. And anytime you have the opportunity to invest money into a coach or into someone that is a professional that knows what they're doing, and they can teach you how to do it the right way the first time, and ensure that it's done the right way, it's done properly, that you're set up and that you're operating effectively, then it is always a wise investment to invest your money into that individual, because you'll then be able to save time and at the same time, in the long run, save money also. So that leads me, to my next point, the third indicator of whether or not a person has a poverty mentality. They see money as an end rather than a means to an end. That's an indication of poverty mentality. If you see money as the end result rather than a means to an end, you have a poverty mentality. And it kind of goes along with the point that I just made. The wise person will see their money as a seed. A seed is something that I invest. I sow it into the ground knowing that it's going to produce a harvest, which means that little bit of money is going to be multiplied as a result of this investment. So that's what a wise person does. They invest. They invest. Rather than trying to figure it out on their own, they invest it into someone that can teach them the right way to do it. The system that ensures that they are going to be effective and successful. And there are some people that they are under the impression that, well, I don't want to invest into somebody. You should just give me that information for free. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You can try it on your own and make a bunch of mistakes, and you can go to YouTube University and get a bunch of pieces and be overwhelmed and frustrated because you don't know where the pieces fit and you don't even know which ones work or don't. You can put yourself in that position, or you can wisely invest into someone that knows what they're doing, and then end up saving time and save money in the long run. In fact, not save money, you actually end up growing your financial portfolio. You gain more money. Why? Because you've learned a system that is able to increase your revenue, increase your value. So if you see money as a seed, every time you get some money in your hand, you should see that money as a seed. Don't see it as, oh, thank God I got some money. No, thank God I have a seed that I can sow. And I'm not talking about sowing it, well, in hopes that if I can sow it into this ministry, then God is going to just, rain down $1 million. No, God says, I will bless the works of your hands. And in Matthew chapter 25, Jesus said something important. He said the master gave to the 3 men with the different talents, which each talent represented a monetary amount. He said he gave to each man according to his ability. Not according to his anointing, but according to his ability. So the one that has the know-how on how to manage more, that has a systemized way of thinking, that they know how to handle more responsibility, they know what to do with more money, that's the person God gave more money to. To the person who had the ability, the knowledge, the know-how, not the anointing in the prayer life, but the one who had the sense. And there are a lot of people, like I say, they just want to go and sow. I want to sow $1,000 seed so that God can just send someone to write me $1 million check. It don't work that way. Heaven is not a big, giant convenience store where you go and buy, the scratch off, lottery tickets, in hopes that one of these is going to be the winning one and you're going to hit the number. No, God doesn't gamble. He doesn't play lottery. His blessings are not a part of some lottery. No, he bestows upon individuals who have a different mindset, who have acquired the knowledge and information on how to handle more responsibility. More money means more responsibility. Increasing your value, your knowledge, your information, knowing what to do, that enables you to receive more. So what seed do you need to sow, or where do you need to sow? the seed is money. But where do you need to sow it? You need to sow it into that which is going to cause you to increase in your knowledge and understanding, to give you a systemized way of getting results and being effective. That's where your money needs to go. Because when you invest into that, you gain information that allows you to increase your value. So you want to invest, you want to see your money as a tool of investment, as a way to invest, not as the end, but as a means to an end. You know, I'll never forget when my wife and I, when we first started out in business, we were attending YouTube University. So what we were doing was we were spending all of our time. We were wasting our time because we were trying to save our money. And we were just like, well, we don't have a lot of money. And the truth be told, that's not actually true. That's not actually true. There are a lot of people that are saying, I'm broke, I don't have the money, I can't invest money. But the truth of the matter is it's not that you lack money, it's that you have misplaced values. Let me give you an example. I've seen people go out and spend $3,000 for a Louis Vuitton purse, or spend over $1,000, $2,000 for a pair of red bottom shoes so that they can wear it to an event and impress the people that are there. And yet that purse and those shoes have no real return on your investment value. In other words, they depreciate in value the second you put them on. They do not return anything on your investment. In fact, when you go and try to sell them online on eBay or something, you can't even sell them for the original price, because you got to mark it all the way down just to be able to sell it. You know, so there are people that, or there are individuals that say, well, I don't have $3,000. I can't invest that into, no, I'm sorry, that's too much money. Misplaced values. Because then when a couple of friends come around and say, we all finna go to the Bahamas, oh yeah, how much is it gonna cost? Well, we getting on a cruise and we gonna go out there. Oh, it costs like what, $3,000 for me to go on that cruise. You know, so then they go and they'll find a way, they'll raise that money. They'll take credit cards and put it on a credit card. They'll turn around and they'll, make sacrifices, and they get that money. They'll borrow that money. Why? Because that trip is important to them. I gotta be on this cruise with my friends. You know, we're gonna be partying it up. You know, we probably gonna be getting drunk, tipsy, or whatever. You know, free drinks and this and that. And they're like, oh, but you gotta invest more than just $3,000 for the trip. You gotta get the flight, hotel, travel to get down there. That's probably another $1,000. Then you got to turn around and you got to get prepared. You got to get your hair fixed. You got to get your toes and your nails and everything done. You got to get some outfits to wear while you're down there. You got to get another bathing suit or swimsuit. I mean, that's another couple of $100 or $1,000. So all in all, by the time you finish investing in that trip, you spent around $5,000 to maybe $6,000. But when you had the opportunity to gain knowledge of a system that would allow you to increase your money tremendously, you say, that's too much. I can't, that's too much money. But when there was an opportunity to go to the Bahamas or wherever, or to some trip, you were willing to spend $5,000 and $6,000. And then after spending that money, you actually went into a hole. And when you got back home, the lights were cut off. The gas was off. All of the food in the refrigerator was spoiled. And then you found yourself begging people for money just to be able to get your lights cut back on and this and that and the other. But you just invested it into a trip, $5,000, $6,000, and you went into a hole because that trip could not teach you how to make more money. It could not increase your knowledge and your information so that you could increase your value and then therefore increase your net worth. That trip couldn't do any of that for you. All it was just a nice little getaway that while you were away, you were also going deeper and deeper into a hole. But if you would have taken, instead of $5,000 to $6,000 and put it into the trip, instead put it into a program, learning a system on how to increase your knowledge and your information so that you can increase your value, your net, and then increase your net worth, then you would have had the money to be able to buy both Louis Vuitton and the new pair of red bottoms and go on a trip. In fact, let's make it a month-long trip. Let's go on a cruise and then fly over here and stay in this hotel and then fly to Paris and then fly to Dubai and then after all of that still come back home and the lights are still on because you had plenty of money to take care of everything and didn't have to go in a hole. In fact, not only did you not go in a hole, but you were actually making money while you were vacationing because you had a system and a knowledge of a system on how to make money, on how to increase your value, on how to increase your net worth because you invested that $3,000 into this system. And I use that example because again, when my wife and I, when we first started out, that's what we did. We were, like I said, we decided we would stop going to YouTube University, losing both time and money. And we decided that, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and hire a coach. And that's what we did. And we paid her $3,000. And that $3,000 was just for one consultation. I know there are people that are like, oh my God, I'm flabbergasted. I would never pay that much money for a single consultation. That consultation changed our lives, but when you look at how much money you're actually losing by making all of the mistakes, by getting this piece and that piece and then spending money on that, how much time you're losing, and then how many hundreds of dollars you're just stacking up as you buy stuff that you don't need because you're trying stuff to see what works, and then after a while that price tag goes up into the thousands. You look up, you notice that, hey, I spent this much money on this software and didn't need it. I spent this much money on this equipment that didn't need it. I spent money for this and this was really irrelevant. It's outdated. I didn't need that. I bought this because they said I needed that, and then come to find out that's not what I needed. And then you look up, you've actually spent more than $3,000 on those mistakes. But you've also lost days, weeks, months, and years of your time at the same time. So is it better that you lose thousands and lose all your time and look up and be like, man, I'm still where I am at square one? Or is it better that you just invest that money into someone that knows what they're doing because they've been there, done that. They have the skill set, the expertise, the knowledge, the wisdom, they know the system. Invest it into them, let them teach you, and therefore you avoid all those mistakes. Save that money and save that time because you get straight to your destination much quicker. Which one is better? I'd say option B is better. Invest it into the person. So we invested into a coach, and she changed our lives and helped us save both time and money. And we made that money back, my goodness, I mean, significantly more, into the hundreds of thousands of dollars off of information that we receive in one consultation with the coach. So the person who has a poverty mentality, they see money as an end, not a means to an end. But a person with wisdom see money as a means to an end, a seed to be invested. And that investment has to go into information, into coaching, into mentorship. Now, I'm going to say this. I went to college. I've been in college, and this is one of those moments where I'm like, if only I knew then what I know now. We all had those moments. If only I knew then what, I had a truckload of money sitting in my hand and what to do with it. Where do I put this? Where do I invest it? Do I invest it in real estate? Do I invest this money into this? Or do I, put it in a certain bank account or mutual funds? Where do I put the money? And I had a bunch of money and didn't know what to do with it. And so, I spent thousands of dollars on tuition, just to go to class. And I'll be honest with you, because a good use of that time and money was not sitting in philosophy 101 or in economics, learning terms that were practically useless. Reading Karl Marx or Friedrich Nietzsche's writings and things of that nature, and just learning all of this stuff. It may be fancy to some people, but it's not going to make you any money. If you want a good use of your investment, invest it into coaches, mentors who can train you, teach you, and give you a systemized way of increasing your revenue, who can show you what to do without you learning, the definitions and terms that are pointless, inelastic, or, learning about, Carl Jones, the shadow, and, all of that stuff. Like, okay, it's fine to know that, but how is that going to make me any money? It's not. And if you can't make money, you can't improve your life. And if you can't improve your life, you cannot improve the lives of the people who are all around you. So you have to have priorities and right alignment. You need to get yourself in a position where you can make an impact in the lives of other people. So what investment do you need to make? You need to invest in the coaches and mentors. Coaches and mentors. Coaches and mentors who can give you the knowledge and the information that can enable you to now make more income, so that you can now change your financial situation and then make changes in every other area of your life. Let's say you need counseling in your marriage. Well, you got to pay for a counselor. Whatever it is you need, you got to pay for it. So you need to get yourself in a position first. That was the thing I didn't know earlier on in my life. And, you learn it later on after you done wasted so many years, just sitting either in a classroom or just sitting on YouTube University, and you're just wasting all that time because you're too stingy to want to put the money where it really needs to be. In the multitude of counselors, a decision is established. Where there is no counsel, a man's plans will ultimately fail. So you want to make sure that you're putting your money in the right place, and understand that your money is a seed. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be investing the money that you get. You're going to be reinvesting it back into more coaching and into more mentoring and into more information. You're going to be signing up for even more coaching programs and continually upping your game and learning even more and more and more and more and more and more and more. You're going to be attending more workshops and more seminars, and you're going to be acquiring more knowledge and information that can allow you to up your IQ and whatever field that you're in, so that you can up your net worth. You're going to be taking the money that you got there and reinvesting it back into coaching and mentorship, learning better systems, more efficient systems. You learn this system, now you're going to invest so you can learn this system. You learn how to start a business, now you're going to invest into learning how to scale the business. Then you're going to invest into learning how to expand it. You're going to always be investing into that, because that's a wise use of your money. So see your money as your seed. Stop working for the money and learn how to make your money work for you. Look, if you enjoyed what you heard today, again, I want to encourage you to go and continue to follow me on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Also, don't forget, check out my website, timothyflemingjr.com. A lot of wonderful blog posts, other videos, and just a lot of great resources that are on my website, and some online courses and all kind of different things you can find right there on my website. Stay in touch.